So India started launching weather satellites, which will take picture and give you advance warning of a
Mm-hmm.
cyclone which is approaching, calculate its velocity and where it might land and with what speed. So and then they created these loudspeakers, they in all these districts, and the loudspeaker will automatically start giving a message saying there is a danger, please move away from the coast and go to the higher altitudes. So this was one in all the coastal villages. This system was set up, and then of course the local administration had to create places for the villagers to stay and move and all that temporarily till the cyclone goes away. Now this has been so successful that earlier tens of thousands of people have died in these big cyclones and big typhoons. But now, even in a super cyclone, when it hit recently in Odisha and East Coast, there are hardly 100 deaths. Now, even 100 is large, but you can see the difference between tens of thousands and 100. And all this is because of use of space technology. And
जी.
and similarly, for example, today these Earth observation satellites, they can observe the crop, and if their crop has got a disease, they can find out, and they can warn all that. But even they can locate where the fish are in the ocean. So
Mm-hmm.
they can locate the fish in the ocean, and then they give a signal to the fishermen in their boats. They got these small chips in their boats, and they give the coordinates, GPS coordinates where the fish are. So the fisherman can go there and catch the fish.
So this technology is not good for the fish.
Yes. So, so absolutely, what is happening? What is important is India has spent all its resources and its thinking, brains, etc., in the space program to see how this technology can be used for ordinary people, fishermen, farmers, planners, urban planners. Suppose you're planning a pipeline or you're planning a highway. How do you plan it in this topography? With satellite imagery, it can be done very easily. So it is in fact one tobacco company told me that they are also, because this is commercially sold, this data is commercially sold. They said we look at the data and see whether the tobacco crop is coming well or not, and what should be the auction price.
Mm-hmm.
They make an estimate of the auction price, and based on that they do the tobacco खरीदारी in the markets, मंडी में
Yeah,
जाके वो खरीदते हैं. So
very
very big.
interesting.
Yeah.
अच्छा सर, इसरो की अचीवमेंट्स बताइए कुछ. आप मुझे पहले बता
Good.
रहे थे रिकॉर्डिंग से पहले कि इसरो के एक मिशन की वजह से ये पता चला कि मून पे पानी है या बर्फ है, आइस है. वो क्या अचीवमेंट थी और अमेरिकन ने कैसे रिएक्ट किया उसको?
जी, जी, जी। ये बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है, इसके बारे में थोड़ी देर बाद मैं बताता हूँ। उसके पहले ये बताऊँगा कि one achievement I already talked to you about weather prediction, about agriculture, use for agriculture, urban planning, all these things from the observation satellites. Then communication, that is a major thing. Initially, I mean, not only for entertainment and TV broadcasting, but communication. Literally, India is so vast, and also terrain is so different. From desert of Thar to all the deep forests and mountains of Himalayas and so on. So, laying communication cables is very difficult. So what ISRO started doing is setting up using satellite for communication. So you could connect to Tripura, Manipur, Assam, or Srinagar or Ladakh very easily using the satellite communication. So this was another big improvement in the telecommunication system. And this and many other technologies that developed, you can say, actually laid the basis for future IT revolution in India. Because without a modern communication system, you cannot have any kind of IT revolution in any country. And India became a major force both internally and externally in the IT system because of some of this work which was done by ISRO and other elements in the Department of Telecommunications. Now, this this aspect of going to the moon, this was a more recent one, because expressly Sarabhai had said we are not in the race to go to other planets like America and Russia. Okay, we are here to spend our extract as much as possible in as frugal a manner, with a limited budget. In fact, I remember in 97, a very prestigious space magazine. It's called Aviation Weekly and Space Technology. It made a cover story in 97 called Success with a Shoestring Budget.
Mm-hmm.
Literally with shoestrings they are doing this,
Yeah.
and that whole cover story was about ISRO. And so today it is established that to launch 1 kilogram into stationary orbit at 36,000 kilometers, it costs about 25 lakh rupees. You know, now the cost of launch from India of any satellite is at least 25 to 30% of the international cost. So India has become a very good alternative for many companies abroad also. So not only they have been launching satellites for India, but also for other countries, both
Like
private
uh,
sector.
like Singapore.
Yes, Singapore, Israel, Brazil, so many other countries. Even now they are launching one with France also, and so on.
Elon
And
Musk.
Elon Musk, yes, some of these Starlink things, he has got this internet based in space. So these types of things, ISRO is very much involved, and for many private companies, it has been launching. Uh, American companies, it has been launching these satellites. Now, but they also said that we will also use our limited resources to go to the moon and later even to the Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you remember, when John F. Kennedy announced that we'll have a man on the moon in 1962, and they achieved it in 10 years' time, they spent billions and billions of dollars on that, and thousands of mathematicians, engineers of NASA worked on that. Because there was a prestige issue. There was a space race with the Soviet Union, and Soviet Union had proved that they are ahead of America by launching the first satellite, by launching the first human being, Yuri Gagarin, into space, and first woman astronaut, Valentina Tereshkova, and so on. So Soviet Union had shown that it is far ahead, but
Yeah.
the implication at that time was not space research, but missile development. Like if you can put a man on the moon or you can go around the earth with your rockets, that means you can hit any city in America,
Hmm.
with your nuclear bombs, with your ballistic missiles. So,
Sir, Sputnik's launch, which was the
G,
first man-made satellite on
G,
October 4, 1957, was a big step,
big step,
which
big
which
step.
startled the Americans.
Absolutely. And in fact, they were saying that this is just a fiction. This is Soviet propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Soviets countered it by saying, today evening at 8 o'clock, you can see it in the sky of Los Angeles. If you've got binoculars, look up.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how they countered American propaganda. So then later, Americans could not help but accept that, yes, Soviet Union had gone ahead.
ये जो मजाक उड़ाया
Ji.
स्पुतनिक जब लॉन्च हुआ तो क्या अमेरिकन गवर्नमेंट ने किया या प्राइवेट मीडिया ने किया?
No, no, I think it was government sources. Maybe they told the
अच्छा.
media
हाँ.
that this is just ऐसे ही बना रहे हैं, बेवकूफ बना रहे हैं आप सबको करके.
अच्छा,
But
उसके बाद सर मैंने ये पढ़ा कि उसके
hmm.
बाद फिर अमेरिकन ने अपनी टीमें भी भेजी, एक्सपर्ट्स को भेजा कि जाओ स्टडी करो, देखो उनके एजुकेशन सिस्टम में क्या चीज पढ़ाई जाती है, क्या नहीं पढ़ाई जाती है, एंड दे लर्नड कि देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ एम्फेसिस ऑन मैथ एंड फिजिक्स इन द सोवियत एजुकेशन सिस्टम.
Yeah, but that was no. See, they had already learnt about this way back with the atomic bomb itself, because
हम्म.
when America developed atom bomb and
हम्म.
dropped it on Japan,
हम्म.
they didn't know that within 3 4 years, Soviet Union would also have its own atom bomb and hydrogen bomb.
हम्म. हम्म.
So it was very clear that there are so many good physicists and mathematicians in Soviet Union.
हम्म.
Many of them even got Nobel Prize later. That so it is no surprise to anybody who really knew what is happening in science. You
हम्म.
know, but for general public, for propaganda purposes, they used to say America is the best, America is top in everything, and so on. And if you remember, the Americans actually got this rocket technology, their own rocket technology for NASA, from captured German scientists.
Mm-hmm.
The head of the Hitler's rocketry department was a scientist called Werner von Braun,
Mm-hmm.
and he was captured by the American soldiers and he was given asylum. And he headed the rocketry program. That is how NASA developed rocketry. So
Mm-hmm.
it is not, so it is not that way great. Indigenous development. It is all learned from what von Braun taught the scientists there. But they invested a lot of money, and in fact, the Silicon Valley development of electronics, chips, all the telecommunication, everything was geared towards the military, you
Mm.
know, and that was exploited in both the missile technology and the space program, right?
All
Now
right.
India said we are not getting into that race, but we'll, with a modest our own modest rockets and with a modest budget, we'll try to go to the moon. Now how do you go to the moon? Now when Saturn V went to the moon carrying Neil Armstrong and all that, billions and billions of dollars were spent on that. Okay. Now these people said, no, we'll use a small rocket and we'll keep like this is called a slingshot approach. This is a very interesting approach. Both to the Mars and Moon, they have used the same approach. That means you do not carry a giant rocket like Saturn V. You use your modest rocket, which you use for normal satellites, but then you put enough fuel in your capsule,
Mm-hmm.
the top last stage, and with that you keep firing the engine once it reaches the upper atmosphere around the earth, then you keep changing its orbit in such a way that it will become longer and longer and longer and get captured by the moon's gravity. Then when
Mm-hmm.
it gets captured by the moon's gravity, you again decelerate it and make it go around the moon, you know. So this is called the slingshot method.
Mm-hmm.
So at a low budget with a modest rocket, you can reach the moon and you can reach the Mars. This is what Indians have shown. So in fact, that is the joke that was made, that when the Indians went to Mars and they successfully went to Mars, and in fact, even China could not go to Mars in its first attempt. India had done it, and that time it was joke. There was a big Hollywood movie called Gravity. Gravity was about
Yes.
space,
I have
and
seen that film. Yeah.
correct. So for Gravity, they had spent more than $100 million, and India had spent only $70 million to actually go to the Mars. you
Mm-hmm.
know, so this became a joke, joke internationally, that how frugally Indians have managed their program. But very interesting thing is, with their limited resources, with a limited camera in the Chandrayaan 1, which was launched in 2007-8, they went to moon, just circled the moon and kept taking photographs and then analyzing those photographs. And they had special sensors there. With that, they came up with the startling discovery that there is water on moon. Now, this was a big shock to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Shock in the sense that it is a pleasant surprise. Of course, everybody loves to have water on the moon, because if you have water, you can make oxygen from water. So you can actually make a small habitat there. You can make a camp there, and human beings can stay there for a few days or months even, if you can find a source of water there. Okay. So, so initially people didn't believe it, but then ISRO's data proved that yes, there is a water there. So after that, the you can say interest has increased in going to the moon. Otherwise, after the 70s, neither Russians were interested nor the Americans were interested in going to the moon. They stopped their lunar program in the 70s. So last 50 years there was no interest, but now again Americans are saying they have a big program to go to the moon. Now Russia, in fact, interestingly, when India has launched its Chandrayaan 3, and they want to land on the moon and then send a small robo to go near the moon on the surface and excavate small amounts of rock and do a chemical analysis on the right there and send the data back. Now Indians think that there is ice near the south pole of moon. That's why Indians are going to land on south pole of moon, where nobody has gone before, because nobody had this idea that there is water in the south pole of moon. Okay. But now Russians also want to go there. So only 2 days back, they launched their Luna 25. And imagine Luna 24 was launched in 1976. And almost 50 years later, they're launching the next edition, Luna 25, which is also going to land in the south pole of moon, more or less around the same time as Chandrayaan 3. So of course, American media is now making it as a race between Russia and ISRO and all that. It's not really that. It's a scientific experiment, and in fact, ISRO sent a congratulatory message to Russia on its launch of the Luna 25 as soon as it was launched successfully. So now we will see whether they are going to land softly there or not, because this is also complex technology. In Chandrayaan 2, people say it failed. It partially failed because it is still sending pictures from moon, by the way. Chandrayaan 2 is also sending pictures from the moon, data from the moon. But the lander it sent down could not land softly. See, in Earth, on Earth, anything landing softly is easier because there is atmospheric resistance. So, like, a human being takes a parachute. I mean, he lands softly because parachute holds him up. So, like that, but on moon, there is no atmosphere. It's vacuum. So, how do you land there? That means only you should use your own braking system to reduce your velocity as you reach the surface of the moon and, you know, land softly. So, this is complex technology. Indians failed in that last time, but this time they are confident. Let us see, let us hope that they land softly. And if they land softly, they are going to send out a robo, and that robo will explore there. And they have got only 14 days because in South Pole, the sun light is available only for 14 days. And you need sun's light to charge the batteries because you have got solar panels. After that, there will be 14 days of freezing night. So at that time, everything might become dead. After that, whether you can still revive it after 14 days after the night, we don't know. I'm sure they will try to revive it. So in these 14 days, that's why they are planning to land around 23rd, 24th of August. And Russians are also planning to land around the same time there near the South Pole. And both are going to explore. Now, this is only the robo is going to send the data, make its own analysis and send the data. Whereas earlier, Americans sent astronauts to gather moon rocks and bring it back and analyze here. And Russians sent robos to not only land on the moon, but bring the rocks back to the Earth. Okay, but all robotic, no human beings. So there is a big difference between the two programs, whether it is American Russian program or the Indian program. Indian program is very modest. It will land a small, you can say, car. But the point is, see the technologies that are involved here. They are amazing. Now, if you fly one small drone, since now drones are very popular everywhere, even in शादी बारात का फोटोग्राफी के लिए आप ड्रोन यूज करते हैं. ये ड्रोन ज्यादा से ज्यादा 200-300 मीटर दूर से आप कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. तो अभी आप कह रहे हैं कि 4 लाख किलोमीटर दूर का रॉकेट को आप कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं. मतलब आपका टेक्नोलॉजी कैसे होगा, आपका कम्युनिकेशन कैसे होगा, कि कितना हाई टेक्नोलॉजी होगा, और उसको गाइडेंस करना, उसका स्विचेस इंजन ऑफ करना, कितना ऑन करना, कितना देर तक चलाना, ये सब इधर बैठ के कर रहे हैं. सो this requires very deep technology in all sciences, you can say. And also every single space mission which has failed, including in India or France or America, Russia, later analysis has found that it is due to software error. So that shows how much of computer science is used in these launches. How important is the software? Okay. उनका प्लान ये भी है कि वीनस के लिए एक शुक्रयान तैयार कर रहे हैं, और सन के लिए, सन का आउटर एटमॉस्फेयर जिसको कोरोना बोलते हैं, उधर से प्लाज्मा का चिंगारी फैलते हैं कॉस्मोस. वो सोलर फ्लेयर्स बोलते हैं उसको. दैट सोलर फ्लेयर totally disturbs your communication system on the Earth. So it's very important to study the solar flares and coronas and so on. So उसको स्टडी करने के लिए भी एक मिशन भेज रहे हैं. It's called आदित्य. So Venus, Sun, and maybe they are sending one more to the Mars and one or two more to the Moon. These are all on part of they are on the cards. And other interesting thing is India is also preparing to send a man on in the outer space. So far India has sent only satellites, not human beings. तो इसको बोल रहे हैं गगनयान. ये गगनयान में आदमी को भेजने के लिए पूरा तैयारी चल रही है. उसके लिए बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स सिस्टम बनाना ज़रूरी है और पूरा फेल सेफ सिस्टम होना ज़रूरी है, ना कि कोई एक्सीडेंट और हादसा हो जाए. और एक अचीवमेंट मैं बोलता हूँ, काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट है, ये लास्ट पॉइंट, कि ये जो हम अभी हमारा जो लोकेशन पहचानने के लिए हम बोलते हैं जीपीएस सिस्टम. ये अमेरिकन सिस्टम है. Similarly, Russia has its own system, and then the Europeans have their own system, and Chinese are now built on their own system. The reason is this system, while you can use it in your car or finding a location on your map and to go to your destination, it is very very also important in the military, for the military purposes, for fighting war. Nowadays, all not only aircraft and ships, but even tanks and armored personnel carriers, everything is equipped with GPS. So you can direct the whole, artillery and armored core, everything using satellite navigation. तो अगर आप दूसरे का सिस्टम यूज कर रहे हैं और वो लोग ने उसको स्विच ऑफ कर दिया, तो आपका पूरा मिलिट्री विल कम टू अ स्टैंड स्टिल. So that is the reason every country is trying to develop its own system independently. Nobody is relying on the other one. Okay, and Chinese developed their own system called Baidu, and now Indians also have developed their own system called Navik. This is for satellite navigation. So these are the general directions of the Indian space program so far: communication, entertainment, Earth observation, agriculture, fisheries, urban planning, weather forecasting, studying monsoon, studying the ocean temperatures, and even satellite communication. Like you can be on top of the Everest and still you can talk to somebody on mobile phone. That is a satellite phone. For that also they have worked on the solutions for that.
अच्छा प्रोफेसर साहब ये बताइएगा कि इस वक्त कितने मुल्क हैं जिनका एडवांस्ड स्पेस प्रोग्राम है? यूएस है, रशिया है, चाइना, इंडिया, और कौन से मुल्क हैं? एंड हाउ डू यू कंपेयर particularly India's space program to that of China?
No, China has a very ambitious space program. In fact, they have already put astronauts in the around the Earth. They have even built a small space lab. They have spent months together in that space lab, and so on. So obviously, their rockets are much more powerful than Indians. India has only just now started looking at the sending the man into the space. So India is, they say we are not in race with anybody. It is only media hype that we are in race and so on. But if you look at Japan, also has fairly advanced program. In fact, they are also planning to send something to the moon. Earlier one didn't work, but now they are going to send again. Then Korea has a space program. France has a very advanced space program. In fact, for a long time, Indian satellites used to be launched on French rockets. And I wrote a number of articles on India's space program. So by looking at that, French government invited me in '97 to visit their space program, both in Paris and in near Brazil. They have a small colony called French Guyana, from where France launches its rockets. So I went there, saw that, met their scientists, and so on. So they have a very advanced space program also. But basically, they use it to launch satellites, both for themselves and for other countries, for a fee. But now India, from being a younger brother, now is becoming a competitor for everybody in the commercial space program, because
Okay,
everybody wants to launch satellites. Yeah.
okay. तो अभी क्या क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं आप आइंदा 2-3 साल में, 4 साल में? वेयर विल इंडिया स्पेस प्रोग्राम बी बिफोर वी कंक्लूड द शो?
Yeah, I mean, I think what will be interesting is, of course, this very Chandrayaan 3. Then Shukrayaan will also be interesting. Venus is not explored very much. Then Aditya will be interesting. But other than that, the developmental aspects, they are very important, because whatever we are talking about, climate change, loss of forest cover, what is happening in the ocean, ये सब स्टडी करना बहुत जरूरी है. और उससे हमारा एक्चुअली इकोनॉमी के लिए काफी हेल्प भी होगा ग्रो करने के लिए.
Yeah.
हमारा फार्मर्स, हमारा फिशरमैन, अर्बन प्लानर्स एंड सो ऑन. India will not be in race with anybody, nor neither China, America, Russia. It will be focused on trying to use space technology for economic development, and at the same time, it is ready to share that technology with others. In fact, some time back, close to 10 years back, India had proposed to all the SAARC countries that we will launch a satellite for the SAARC nations. Now, unfortunately, Pakistan raised some objections about it. I don't know what were their objection. Otherwise, India was ready to launch a satellite which all countries can use, you know, for various purposes, development purposes, broadcasting purposes, etc. So it is ready to share both its technology as well as its, like for example, it is working closely with UAE. UAE का भी satellite उन्होंने launch किया है, and so on.
Okay. Thank you very much. You have been very generous with your time.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.